House Bill 376.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you again, and thanks for the HB 286. HB 376 is an attempt to expedite the process for domestic violence victims reporting. I have once again worked with and am still working with the stakeholders here to get the bill in its proper posture. My goal was to reduce the time of when the TROs had to be reported. Right now, the current statute is next business day, which, for example, the last 4 days, the last 3 days being a holiday weekend would be a concern for me to have victims without any avenue to even have it reported. So with a holiday weekend added, with a holiday added to that weekend, you can go up to almost 4 days, Tuesday by 5 o'clock. So we are working together to get the bill in a great posture to try to reduce that time. So once again, I ask for your favorable passage as amended.
Oh, I'm sorry. You're right. There are some amendments that were given to me. Ms. Caulfield, can we pass those amendments out, please? And just real quick, Representative, on your amendment, can you tell the committee again what you're trying to do with your amendment?
Yeah, so the amendment, my bill in its initial form was to have it reported within 2 hours. We all agreed that that was being a bit aggressive, so we went to the next calendar day. And my understanding is that some of the smaller parishes will still have some issues with trying to get it done the next calendar day. So we're trying to work out a way where we can expedite and get them caught up technology-wise to get it done the next calendar day. So we are doing may be reported by the next calendar day, but not less than the next business day.
Okay, so we have Representative, I'm sorry, Senator Barrow will offer Amendment 2377. Any questions on the amendment, members? Seeing no questions, any objections on the amendments? No objections. Amendment 2377 is adopted. Back on the bill, Senator Klein-Peter.
I just wanted at the proper time moved as favorable.
Very well, we'll hold that motion. Senator Mizell.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Rep. Boyd. I appreciate what you're trying to do here, and I'm just wondering, so many things that we seem to lag behind on.
Yes.
You know, whether it's trafficking or a lot of the issues we have with sexual assault. There are rankings, and groups will tell us, okay, this is where your ranking is, this is why. Does the group, I don't know who you worked with on this, but is there a template that other states follow on this time frame that gives maybe some creative ways to work with the
So we're working, Senator Mizell, on trying to figure out how to get it done. It is definitely a problem. Louisiana ranks #1 right now in domestic violence, especially after the first reporting with the deaths. We had an incident this past weekend that was reported in New Orleans with a young lady who had called twice before, and her third time, it was a 12-hour gap, and by the time they got to her, he had murdered her. So I just want to find the best way, the fastest way to get this entered into a registry where these women and men, doing my research, I also found that there are a lot of men that have domestic violence issues as well, to get it done and get it done effectively and efficiently.
So is there some sort of like a digital way of doing this that bypasses the need for the piece
So on the
of paper?
federal level, there is a digital level. Apparently, we have some gaps here. In my initial filing of the bill, I'd said 2 hours because I was thinking during COVID, everyone had to work remotely. So there should be some system in play to work remotely. But apparently, some of the court systems you still have to go in to work. The Supreme Court actually still only takes fax. So we're behind a little bit digitally. So I'm trying to help close that gap and to get us caught up technology-wise, where we can actually do this as soon as possible.
Right.
And the bill reads that way, as expeditiously as possible. Yeah.
I do. I think we all know there's a sense of urgency
Yes.
on addressing this. So thank you for the bill, and he's already moved favorable. So
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Barrow. Senator Mizell, and Senator Barrow next.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I do want to applaud you as well on the legislation. Certainly, it is way overdue. And I kind of want to follow up. What I would like to probably see, and maybe we can do this in terms of a resolution, is actually look at every parish, because you would think after COVID that certainly for those areas who were not tech savvy would have come online, but maybe they evidently they did not.
Yes.
And it makes me wonder how they were operating. But some of these areas are so small, I guess they just know the people. I don't know, but I really am very curious about that, because we definitely have to do things a lot more quicker.
Yes, absolutely.
And I would like to see, maybe we can work on some kind of resolution so we can take a look at all the systems and how they currently operate.
That was actually a suggestion that was brought to me this morning by your great staff here, to figure out which parishes would still need some further assistance and how we can work that in. So I would definitely be open to working with you on that.
Yes. Well, again, I applaud you, and I would third the motion I've already made, and I'm going to co-author the bill. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator. You're looking pretty good at this point.
Yes.
We have a lot of green cards in support. We have two who would like to speak, but I will tell you there are no red cards. Morgan Lamondre and Brandy Melissa, if you want to speak really briefly, that's fine. But there is no opposition as far as red cards. Also here in support, not wishing to speak, Pamela Allison, Kevin Caldwell, Charmaine Cosio, Tom Costanza, Hannah Duke, Katie Hunter Lowry, Ronald Marshall, Peyton Rose Michelle, Peter Robbins Brown, Chico Yancey, and Frank DeFulco here to provide information only. Ms. Melissa?
Chairman Foyle, Vice Chairman Abraham, and fellow Louisiana citizens, I'm sitting before you today to ask that you vote yes on HB 376 by Rep. Vote on domestic violence protective orders in the time they need to be transmitted or entered. Those who have been here since 2015, when my mom first talked in this building about her experiences, and those who have been here since 2017, when her fight ended, already knows how tough this is for me. But for the sake of saving future victims of domestic violence from being taken by it as my mom was, Thanksgiving Eve 2017, I'm going to push through the pain that is unexplainable. February 1st, 1990, minutes after getting off my special ed school bus, when I had just started being mainstreamed half days from special ed into kindergarten in Norbury, my mom got home. And when my dad asked her something that he didn't like her answer to, he pushed me out the way and proceeded to pick up my mom by her neck and threw her on our dining room table, where he proceeded to strangle the life out of her. She had to be resuscitated and had a rope burn around her neck for months after we relocated to Baton Rouge. She died from inoperable brain aneurysms caused by him beating her in the head before, during, and after her pregnancy with me. Protective orders were frequently torn up by my dad, even in the presence of law enforcement. Once her divorce was finalized 2 years after we got here, she was given a permanent injunction. I personally feel that saved her life, because not long after my dad somehow found out we were here and where my mom's apartment was, he literally hitchhiked from New Orleans one night with the intention of finishing what he started. Because she was able to let 911 know that she had an injunction, every agency surrounded our apartment and handled him in no time. Current law gives clerks by the end of the next business day to transmit protective orders, but like I just explained, seconds and minutes matter. While I wish the proposed within 2 hours could have stood, the next calendar day is life-saving, whereas current law statutes leave victims in extreme danger. Since Louisiana prides itself in being pro-life, And we hear all the time in committees that words matter. As someone subjected to brutal domestic violence in utero that I live with the effects of today, I strongly urge you to change the may to shall, because saving lives should never be optional, and leaving the amended version to may gives the option of not having to do anything, which could lead to unintended consequences of dead victims. I also know a young mom who was shot to death by her spouse in front of their young children a few years ago. Again, the length of time that protective orders are entered into the system matters, because lives are on the line, and those who are brave enough to seek legal protection from abuse deserve to be safe immediately, so we don't keep ranking in the top 5 for domestic violence homicides. On behalf of those still fighting for protection, those who may one day find themselves in those shoes, and the countless victims who have lost their lives to domestic violence in Louisiana, either by gunshot immediately or from succumbing to long-term effects of years of brutal abuse, I beg you to pass HB 376 by Representative Boyd, because safety is time-sensitive and victims matter. Thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Morgan Lamondre with Star. I'm trying to go through the amendments right now, and I think we might still have concerns, because somewhere in between, I think it was on the House floor, there was amendments that were introduced that made all the shalls to may. So even if it's no later than the next business day, it's a may. It's discretionary that somebody is sending the protection order to LPOR as well as to law enforcement. It needs to go back to shall. That's incredibly, because even if it's, but no later than the next business day, if it's still discretionary, then they're not going to do it anyway. So I want to tag that, because I think that's not necessarily taking care of what the amendments I was just given, but I'm not positive.
Why don't you let Representative Boyd, do you want to address that? Yes.
The intent was to take care of that. On the floor, it was changed from may to shall to give from shall to may, to give the smaller parishes time to kind of get caught up. And I think the unintended consequences was that we then took out the next business day. So the intent of the amendments today was to put back, but shall not be later than the next business day. So we may need to just add shall back for that particular part until we work out some better language for it.
Let me go to Senator Carter real quick.
Thank you. And I'm just listening to my colleagues here, and I think we're all supportive. Sounds like you are as well, to work on any language to help clear up anything between here and the floor to keep things moving. Yes.
Trying to do.
Yes.
Yeah. And since this is our last committee meeting, we don't want to hold up your bill. So let's go ahead and take a motion on that. Senator Kleinpaint's already reported that we
already made the
report
motion.
your bill is amended, and I know that you'll work with the committee members to get this to where we need to be.
Yes.
Okay, so any objections to reporting this bill? Senator Kleinpainter moves that we report House Bill 376 as amended. Any objections? Seeing no objections, that bill is reported as amended. Thank you for your work.
Thank you very much.
And I wanted to say, she did say that I wanted to make it clear just on the record, so that way things get really quick and move in at the end, and I just want to make sure
we understand it's part of the process, and that's why we have these committee meetings. So thank you.